Hi guys, welcome back. Apologies, it's been a few days since the last video. I am moving house at the moment, so I appreciate you bearing with. BTC's chopping like hell, and that's what we can kind of expect after the biggest liquidation event in history. People are scared to come back, people are licking their wounds, and people are wondering, is this the bottom or will it go lower? Is this the start of a top or is this, the bottom where we can expect to push up from here? So I'm going to cover that in a bit, based on some comparisons with the gold chart, based on looking at VWAP, based on looking at some key levels. But before I do that, please like and subscribe to the video, and let's jump into it. So first up, we've discussed this before, the weekly trend, the weekly noodle. Now, what are we looking at here? You can see down here, well, I know I've discussed plenty of times before, I sound like a broken record, but I've discussed plenty of times since 2023, we've failed to close below it once we flipped above it. Now, the thing to note with that is I was saying I was always looking for a sweep into the weekly noodle, the weekly trend, to look for entries on spot for things. Now, it doesn't just go as black and white as that. What we have to look at here is how long it chopped in that area before pushing out. So if we actually go back to 2023 when it first flipped it, you can see once we actually got above it and just chopped sideways, we did that for 42 days before pushing up, making new highs. And then in May 2023, we did another 42 days on the retest before pushing up again. Then again, another 63 days on the next retest. We can zoom across to here. We can see around August in 2024, when we had that first initial retest, we actually chopped for 112 days inside the noodle, inside the weekly noodle before pushing up into fresh highs. This most recent one in April 2025, 56 days. Once we tagged it, we chopped through before pushing up. You can see each time we basically had a low sweep, like an SFP low sweep, which I've discussed before pushing up to a fresh leg. And you can see right now, this current one, we're only 14 days in after tagging the noodle for the first time, I should say. Now, what kind of has me wondering here what we're going to do? So, like I said in previous videos, I'm bullish. I'm bullish on this pushing up. I don't know when, but I'm bullish on it pushing up as long as we hold this weekly demand inside the weekly noodle. Now, if we start losing that, that low is down at 98k. We start losing that, we break market structure from the weekly, then we're back inside this old range. And if that happens, I'll effectively say this bull market is done, this cycle is done. And, due to the institutional money in Bitcoin now, in crypto, like in, with ETFs and whatnot, I don't think we see the massive sell-offs like we have in the past. Like, from the last cycle top to the bottom was, a nice 70% drawdown. I don't think we have that this time just because we have institutional interest in these assets now. But I do think if we start rotating back inside, like this might just be a big deviation here. Now, if we start accepting under that 98k low, under the weekly noodle, I'm effectively going to say we're back inside this old range here. Now, maybe we get some sort of bearish backtest to the range high around 108k before selling off. But ultimately, if we start accepting in there, I think my cycle bottom target is around here somewhere, down around 77, down to, let's say, 74k and the range lows. Now, this, will be very hard to endure. Probably some easy shorts to take. I think alts will get absolutely smoked if that happens. But just in terms of like an old range that we may be accepting back inside, this does have the potential to be a deviation. So we just need to watch that. But like I said, as long as we are holding the weekly noodle and holding that demand, I'm refusing to accept that we are accepting back inside this old range. I think this is fine. We're just chopping. We had the biggest liquidation event in history, as I said. We can expect some chop to occur. Now, if we actually go to what we're looking at currently, we did, come down and backfill more than 50% of that daily wick, which I discussed on the previous video. I said that's often a thing people do. Myself included, you look for a big wick to form, you look for about 50% of it to be backfilled before pushing up. This actually came down to about 79%, it was the 0.79 on the Fibonacci. Before pushing up, we came up, we compressed, sort of, if I actually pull the money noodle up, you can see we compressed under the H1 noodle for quite a while before pushing up above it. We flipped it, we came down, gave it a very nice retest, we left these equal lows behind. Pushed up again. This retest didn't really hold. We came down. We actually tested, if we go to the 4 hour. If you follow my Twitter, this is nothing new to you. If you're in the Miles High Club, nothing new to you. But what I was looking for was a retest of this 4 hour demand down here. Actually didn't do it on the Bybit chart. It did on the Binance. But you can see we sort of front run it and now we've left these equal lows. So what we did do, we pushed up into the monthly open. We pushed up into the anchored VWAP. Now that's anchored from the all-time high candle. What did we do there? We rejected. Now, if we look at VWAP also, you can see we rejected at previous month's VWAP. So this dashed line here shows the previous month. And now we're accepting back under the value area low, developing value area low for the monthly. So not a great sign. This move overnight looked very promising, but this immediate engulf of it doesn't look good to me. So what am I looking for now? If I'm looking for upside, where am I looking for it? I'm effectively looking for us to come down, to test that demand, to run these equal lows. So we have equal lows down here. That's also Monday's low. And I'm looking for a potential reversal there. Also, we may run a bit deeper into the equal lows down at 106. So, Monday low is 107.3K, 106K is the equal lows below that. I think anything down there, you're looking for a low time frame trigger to go long, and just play the local price action. So a tweet I shared the other day on my Twitter was basically everything's just in a range right now. We can just treat everything like it's in a range. So here's pretty much range highs up here. It's a pretty garish line. Let me make that a bit nicer for everyone. And we pretty much have the range lows down here. So we can effectively say we're just trying to trade internal liquidity up to external and vice versa. So what I'm seeing here right now, I would like a run of those to look for a long trigger, either one of those. I've got alerts on both, so look for a long trigger on a run of this 107.3. If I don't get that, I'll be looking for a long trigger down here. Other than that, we are just in a big range. So there's no point sort of saying the cycle's over or whatever when we're just in a ranging period in here. So we can see that quite clearly. Previous week's low is down here at 103K. And those range highs that I discussed on the last stream are 115, 116K. These levels are fine. It's just a ranging regime right now. So I'm kind of using the bank heist analogy in the Miles High Club. Link in the description if you want to check that out. The bank heist analogy is we are in a ranging period. We're not trending. So you sort of want to get in and get out as fast as possible, just like a bank heist. So, no cause for concern yet. As long as we are holding above that weekly noodle and above that range high, above that weekly demand, then all good. And we can trade a bit lower and get back above it. All we want to see with this weekly range here is we want to see candles close above it. Now you can see we've had 1, 2, 3 retests. Each have closed above that range high, that previous range high at 108.2K. If we start accepting below there in the weekly, so if we close the next weekly candle on Monday or Sunday night, so Monday morning for me, if we close that back under this range, then I'll start sort of contemplating like, is this 103K low safe? If not, then I'll be looking for 98K, and that's pretty much my line in the sand, because at that point we will have accepted back inside the old range. So pretty much all I'm watching for now. Now, can we see a reversal here, and why would we look for a reversal? You can say, yes, we're in a downtrend on the daily time frame. So if we go to the daily, here you can see we are downtrending. We are making lower highs and lower lows. On the 4 hour, we have actually shifted structure. So you can see here we made this low, we came up, we made this high, so it's basically still a lower high, but then we made this higher low, we pushed up and confirmed that higher low by breaking market structure here. Now the problem with that is we immediately engulfed and reverted it, so it doesn't look that strong, but we still are holding that higher low down here at 107K. So as long as we're holding that, we are technically in bullish structure, despite how ugly this candle looks. Market structure is king at the end of the day. Now, why would I be looking for a reversal for longs down here instead of shorts? Basically, the thesis is on the gold chart. So we see gold has been an absolute tear. We may be seeing that start to top out here. We are seeing some H4 divergences up here across RSI and Awesome Oscillator. We have just been like a steady sort of run up, and now we're starting to see some decent like engulfing candles down. Now it's a bit difficult here because we have come straight into this daily demand. You can see this nice hammer candle forming there. But if we actually go to the BTC versus gold chart, it's quite an interesting picture here. So you can see we've actually just swept this weekly low down here. That's why I think maybe we might be in for somewhat of a reversal, because generally when gold trends, it trends for a while, and eventually when it tops out, BTC plays catch up. It's kind of the real world gold rotation into digital gold. We've seen that in the past many times, so there's just something to have on your radar, not something to bank on, but just something to have on the radar. Now, why I also like this sweep down here, you can actually see, if we go to the 4 hour, it printed a very nice 4 hour bullish divergence down here. A bit difficult to see, you can see that red line down here in the extremes, and that lines up with this, just putting in a lower low. So we did that, we have flipped that level, we have effectively flipped the money noodle as well. Just go to this. So we are flipping the 4 hour noodle here on the the BTC versus gold chart. You can see it's been quite respected in the past from the downtrend and the uptrend, holding it in the uptrend, bearish backtest in the downtrend, bearish backtest here again, and now we are effectively flipping that. Now we need to see this hold in here. Now it's pretty clear structural level if we want to see BTC and gold sort of do the rotation. Now maybe it's just a rotation on a low time frame, maybe it doesn't last long, but maybe it lines up with something like BTC sweeping those equal lows I've been talking about and then have a bounce and for gold to continue selling off. So really, at the time of making this video, you'll probably see it a few hours later, we're just looking for this H4 noodle retest to hold. We're looking for this structural market structure break level here to hold. And it's pretty much as simple as that for now. So onto Ethereum. ETH's a pretty simple one as well. If you just look at line chart, look at this for what it is. We are just holding this I've just marked out these two tops here, makes like a little box area. We are holding that, we are holding the weekly demand, we are holding the weekly noodle at the same time. So, you know, no cause for concern yet. It's my same thesis with BTC. As long as we hold this low down here at 98K on BTC, that lines up with roughly 3350 on Ethereum. So as long as we're holding that weekly demand, weekly noodle, no cause for concern. We start to lose those things and close the weekly below that level. So if we start to close the weekly below here, I think we can trend lower. We possibly will come back down to test this area around 2600, this demand pocket. But until then, no cause for concern. Just playing it for what it is. Now onto altcoins. I'm not going to cover alts because they're having very small rotations in, you know, very small clusters of things. There is some, you know, intraday narratives to play and whatnot, and you sort of have to have finger on the pulse for that. You can be monitoring like on-chain metrics and open interest and stuff like that. Derivatives data on the back end and things like Orion Terminal to sort of see what might have the potential for pushing in different directions. But for now, I'm just using ETH BTC as my barometer. We can see if we actually go to the daily chart, we did put in that bottom for ETH when we flipped this key pivot level here. We see a very nice like support resistance level. Was support, turned into resistance over here. Resistance again, we flipped it, came down, nice support retest. Now if we go to the 4 hour, all I'm looking for on this chart, actually I can stick on the daily for this. All I'm looking for on this chart is for us to push back up above this level here at 0.038. We get above that and like I think we can see some movement in altcoins, but until then, if this continues bleeding off and looking weaker against BTC, I just don't think alts as a collective are very, you know, worth taking. It's an intraday traders market, like I said, bank heist, get in and out, take your profit, just trade level to level. I'm not trying to take any swings myself. I'm not trying to like take a fat leverage swing position to new highs on different altcoins. I might be picking up spot if we test like range lows on things. But other than that, you can see across most alts, it's just like mimicking. It's just doing the slow bleed like BTC is. It pumped last night with BTC, most alts did, and then they immediately sold off and reverted. So I went to bed and it was looking fairly average. I woke up and it was looking fairly average, even though like a lot of stuff had happened in that time overnight during US session. So I miss US session all the time because it happens like 2 a.m. my time, so unfortunate, but it's what it is. Asia session is quite fruitful a lot of the time for me. So in terms of just low time frame structural levels, maybe we just want to hold this for now, this level over here at 0.035. But really, yeah, we really want to see just a flip of this and for ETH to start exhibiting strength against BTC, pushing up, and then we can look to rotate into altcoins. So that's a rapid fire update. I'll leave it there for now. I'll be back in 2 days. Like I said, I'm moving house, so thank you for bearing with me. Once I set up in the new place, I'm getting new lighting set up and doing all the things. I'm going to try to commit to a more regular schedule for you guys. And I hope everything I have been saying in the past 20 random or so videos I've done has been helpful to you. I think it's been around 20 now, so milestone for me. But yeah, please like, subscribe to the video, hit the notification bell if you want to join the Miles High Club, link in the description. Other than that, I'll catch you in a few days. Cheers.